All right, what is going? What is happening? How's everybody doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, of course, I bring you guys another top 5 classes to use, or top 5 most overpowered guns to use here in Modern Warfare. It's kind of like a weekly series we got going here on the channel. I like to throw it up here once a week just to kind of keep you guys informed and let you guys know a bunch of really awesome classes that I personally love using that I think are overpowered to use here in Modern Warfare. Personally, I really enjoy making this type of video because I know you guys really enjoy seeing it. With that being said, if you guys think you're gonna enjoy today's video, make sure you guys slap a like on, see if we can break 5 likes on today's video, and also make sure you guys subscribe, those notifications turn on down below so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. With that being said, let's actually jump right into this. So off rip, I feel like I have to throw in here the M4A1, but we're gonna just kind of go right through all these classes because I know you guys know exactly what's going on here within this video. So the first thing here we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go through and put on the monolithic suppressor here on the M4A1. This is just the best suppressor attachment to use. Personally, I think this is fantastic. I really enjoy using this. I basically wouldn't use anything else unless I really didn't have it leveled up. At that point, I'd use a tactical suppressor, but otherwise, throw on the monolithic. That is going to be my number one barrel of, my number one muzzle of choice. Second here, we're going to be going into the barrel section, and there's a couple different things we can run in here. Obviously, we have the 11.5 Commando, the FS 14.5 Tac Light, and the Predator. Basically, these are 3 barrels that we want to skip over. The 2 barrels you have the choice of is basically the Corvus Custom Marksman and the stock M16 Grenadier barrel. If I want to be keeping it up with you guys, basically, I love running the Corvus Custom Marksman here in like multiplayer, and I love running the stock M16 Grenadier in like Warzone, and it's also really, really good in multiplayer. I think this is probably going to be my barrel of choice here for my M16 class or my M4A1 class with the M16 barrel. I really, really like it. But now let's actually move on here to the underbarrel section, and honestly, you really don't have to do anything crazy with this. If you're playing something like Warzone, I love running the Ranger foregrip just because we're actually playing a lot of multiplayer. We're actually going to go straight up here, and we're just going to keep it very simple. We're on the Commando foregrip. I think this is just an amazing foregrip to run. Super, super simple, man. I mean, you don't got to do nothing crazy with this. I mean, there's a lot of attachments in here, but the Commando foregrip is going to be my choice. Next up in here, we're just actually go down to the ammunition slot, and honestly, I mean, there's a couple choices in here. Basically, you want to avoid this, the PAR 32 round and the SOCOM 10 round. I would suggest basically never, ever using these on the M4. Just don't ever do it. But the 50 round magazine, the 60 round magazine, this is kind of a personal preference. I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy, so of course, I'm going to rock here with the 60 round magazine. And the last, definitely not least, we're going to go over to the rear grip, and we just got to make this thing a little bit more mobile. Consider we have such a heavy barrel on there, so we have the granulated, the rubberized, and the stippled. And honestly, we're actually just going to go straight down here for the stippled because this gives us our aim down sight speed, our sprint to fire speed here with the M4A1. This is just going to be a really, really awesome class. And of course, you can see that I do kind of have like this little red version of the gun. This is basically like the Honey Badger iron sights, and also is the red M4A1 tracer, but just you can't really tell just because it's it's been modified. Now for another gun that I'm actually a pretty big fan of, the CR56 AMAX. This is actually a really, really good gun. This is also another tracer variant, if I should say so. But now we're actually going to go right here to the muzzle, and we're going to actually go ahead and use the monolithic suppressor like always. The mono suppressor is just my go-to attachment on all my guns for multiplayer and for Warzone, especially for Warzone, because you want to stay off that radar as much as possible because you do show up on the radar in Warzone, but not in multiplayer. I don't really know why they do that. But anyways, we have the mono suppressor there. Now we're actually going to go in here to the barrel section, and we have a couple different options. So we have the Intruder, the Zodiac, and the 11.8 Squall. And to be honest with you guys, we're going to avoid using the Intruder and then the Squall. I mean, none of these really give us damage range and stuff like that, minus the XRK Zodiac. This gives us that damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, basically the trifecta of things I always talk about in which you really want out of a barrel. So we're going to go ahead and throw this bad boy on there. Next up, we're going to go down here to the underbarrel section, and you can do a variety of different things to this. Like I say, if I play Warzone, you can definitely throw on like the Ranger foregrip. I will definitely throw on the Ranger. That is an incredible, attachment to use when playing Warzone. And I will also some other stuff up here a little bit later on when I'm playing Warzone. But for multiplayer, I'm using the Commando foregrip. It's pretty easy, simple, and of course, it doesn't minimize my movement speed too much. My mobility doesn't really take me out too much, which I really enjoy. Next up, we're going to the ammunition slot. We have a couple different choices here, and obviously, you can see there's the 10 round mag, which don't ever use this. Seriously, like the M4A1, don't ever use this like 10 round mag. It's not worth it. I don't really see anybody ever use this. Probably for good reason, because it's not really that good. So we were basically left the only other choice there is, which is to bump it up from 30 rounds to 60, bump it up from 30 to 45, I should say, my bad. So we just have to use the 45 round magazine. Like seriously, we just kind of have to use it. Last but definitely not least here, if we're playing multiplayer, we're gonna go to the rear grip section. This can be pretty similar to the M4A1. We're gonna go ahead and choose the stippled wrap, or basically the XRK CR56 stippled wrap, not the grip tape, whatever they want to call it. They always like to change up names on stuff, but basically we're going to choose that. And if you're actually playing Warzone, you can swap out that and actually go in here and say and throw on something like the VLK 3.0 optic. And then if you throw on the VLK 3.0 optic, make sure you're running the Ranger foregrip. Basically, if you swap out those two attachments on this build, this would be an incredible setup for you to use in Warzone. That's actually a very, very fast killing gun in Warzone, so I would suggest doing it. But for a multiplayer setup, this is what it is. This is a really, really good setup to use. I mean, the gun kills really fast. I love this gun. It's actually a really good DLC weapon. Next up in here, we're actually going to be taking a little bit of a look at the MP5. Actually, one of my favorite SMGs to use in all of Modern Warfare. So this, we can do a couple of different things here. So there's the muzzle where you can go down here and throw on the monolithic suppressor just like this. Or you can go into the barrel, or the barrel section, and throw on the integrated monolithic suppressor. And I do believe when I actually was watching a bunch of videos, looking around on the internet, that I think the monolithic integral is going to be the best. I've watched a couple videos on it, but I mean, honestly, I guess it kind of comes down to your personal preference on how you want your gun to look, how you want it to function. Some people run the other ones, some people run this one, so it's kind of up in the air, and honestly, it won't make that much of a difference. But we're gonna go ahead and throw on the monolithic integral here, and next we're gonna go straight into our underbarrel. So now we actually have a bit of a couple options here. So there's the commando, which definitely works good, the Merc, which definitely is, I think, what the pros use, the Merc, I mean, not the Ranger, which is what I actually like to use quite a bit, and then the tactical and the operator, which I mean nobody really ever uses. So honestly, if you want to switch out between anything, use the Merc and the Ranger. I wouldn't really suggest using the commando as much anymore. I thought that was going to be a vibe pretty early on, but it's definitely not. I would just say use the Merc foregrip if at all possible. I mean, it's got your best recoil control side, hipfire accuracy within the underbarrel section at least, and I think this is really, really good. Next up, we're down here in the ammunition category, and honestly, there's a big debate on what people like to use, like which is better, the 45 round or the 10mm auto 30 round magazine. And honestly, I'm just gonna say the 45 round magazine is gonna what you're gonna be wanting to go with. I mean, it's just better. Like, genuinely, this is just better to use, and I would suggest running with this 10 times out of 10 over the auto 30 round mag. Like, just go ahead and use this. I mean, there's no point to run this, honestly. You don't see that much of a benefit, so I'd go ahead and run that. Next up, we're gonna go in here into our rear grip, because I really think this gun needs just a little bit more mobility, so we're giving it that stippled grip tape. This is going to be our fourth attachment here for the MP5, as I really, really like running stippled grip tape on this thing. And for our fifth attachment, we're actually going to go straight over here to the stock category. So we have the Forge Stack, Ultralight, the Classic, straight inline stock, the FSS close quarter stock, and the FTAC collapsible. Basically, if you're playing like Warzone as a secondary gun, you can definitely run the FTAC collapsible, or if you want to just run it in multiplayer, you definitely can. What I've actually really been vibing here with recently is the FSS close quarter stock, the ADS speed this actually gives. I really actually enjoy this. So this is actually going to be my fifth attachment, and I did make a dedicated video on this gun just the other day, so some of you guys may have actually already seen this class, but this is really, really good. Seriously, go ahead and try this out. Of course, we couldn't make a top 5 video without throwing in the Kilo 141. This gun is absolutely amazing, so let's jump in here. Of course, you guys know the drill. Go down here, put that monolithic suppressor on there. It's just really that good. Next up here, we're going to go into the barrel section, and so we have a couple different options here, or a few different options, I should say. The 16.6 SOCOM, the 19.8 Prowler, and the Singard Arms Whisper. Well, this is actually your integrated monolithic suppressor, but this really doesn't give you that range and stuff that you really want out of the Kilo 141. So that basically leaves us with two options. We have the 16.6 SOCOM, then we have the 19.8 Prowler. And honestly, what I actually enjoy more is running the 19.8 Prowler 10 times out of 10. I would say that this is going to be my go-to barrel in multiplayer, my go-to in Warzone. You guys are definitely going to run the 19.8 Prowler. I mean, if you have it unlocked, definitely throw this on. If you don't have it unlocked, throw on the 16.6 SOCOM until you get the 19.8 Prowler, but I'd highly recommend throwing this on there. Next up, we're going into the underbarrel. Honestly, you can keep this very simple and just run the Commando foregrip. Seriously, you could just really keep this very simple. You don't have to do anything crazy. I've never even gone down and ran like a Ranger on this gun because I don't really think it's necessary. No matter what type of sight or non-sight you're running on it, it really just doesn't matter. This gun has like no recoil, so run the Commando foregrip on here. This will be great. So the Kilo is pretty unique, at least in the ammunition category, where you actually go down here and it has a 100 round drum magazine. honestly, I used to run this way back in the day, like way back when Modern Warfare first came out, but what I've actually figured out is that I really am not a big fan of running the 100-round drum magazine, and so I just stick to running the 60-round magazine, and I've been running this on my Kilo for a long time. I actually sometimes forget there is a 100-round drum mag on here that you can actually even select it, just because I like my 60-round magazine just so much, so I'd highly suggest actually running this as an attachment. For my final attachment here, we're actually going to go straight into the optic category, and we're going to be choosing the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. You guys can definitely choose this, or you can not choose this and run maybe something like stippled grip tape or something else like that. Or if you're playing Warzone, go down here, run the 3.0 optic. I mean, dude, like, you really just can't go wrong with actually running the VLK 3.0 optic on this gun, or the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. I mean, both of those are my two recommended optic attachments, but for multiplayer and for Warzone, you can definitely run the Corp Combat Hollow. And of course, if you have, you know, the blue dot reticle, this is what a lot of people like to run. I mean, I need to go ahead and unlock the blue dot reticle, but that's going to take me a long time, and it just may actually never happen. So this is actually my Kilo setup right here. This thing is amazing. You guys definitely need to go try this out. Super good class. And for our final gun here in our top 5 classes, we're actually going to go ahead and check out the MP7. This gun is a laser beam, and I love using it. So, like always, muzzle attachment, go down here, add on the monolithic suppressor. You ain't got to spend much time on that. Next up, we're going straight in here to the barrel. We have a couple of different options. We have the FSS Strike, the FSS Recon, the FSS SWAT. As you will see, this gives you ADS speed. This gives you damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. This one actually just gives you damage range, bullet velocity. Honestly, I want that recoil control as well as my damage range and bullet velocity. So I'm going to go with the FSS Recon barrel. This is my favorite barrel to run in multiplayer and Warzone. This thing beams in both game modes. So I would highly suggest actually using this. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on there. For the underbarrel, because this gun is already such a laser beam, sometimes you can get away with running no underbarrel attachment on it. So we're just gonna keep it very simple here and just run something like the Commando foregrip. Honestly, you really don't need much. If you want more hip fire accuracy, you can run the Merc foregrip and now obviously increase your hip fire accuracy. But just because I'm actually playing, you know, a lot of multiplayer with it, and I just find that, like, you know, the Commando works really well, I'm just gonna run that. I mean, you can just definitely swap between the two, but honestly, I mean, it's personal preference at the end of the day for this. Next up in the ammunition category, as you guys know, we have about 30 rounds in this magazine as is, so we need to have a larger magazine size, either 50 or 60, and I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy, as you guys already know. So we're gonna go ahead and add on this 60 round mag. This is gonna be amazing, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this variant here is actually pretty cool. This is like the anime variant of the MP7, and I really actually enjoy using this. It's also like a tracer variant as well, which is super cool. And so for our last attachment here for our final gun, we're going here to the rear grip, and we're gonna go straight for the stippled grip tape to keep this thing the utmost, you know, mobile and ADSing super fast. I mean, I would just, you know, throw this on here. This is gonna be my 5 attachments to use on the MP7. This is going to be an incredible setup for you guys to use as either a primary multiplayer, a secondary in Warzone, or even a primary in Warzone. Maybe run like the MP7 with a sniper or something like that. I mean, this gun's just really good. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys here with today's video. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you guys slap a like on it, subscribe, those notifications turn on, make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. Go check out any of these other videos here up on screen, as I'd greatly appreciate that. I put a lot of time and effort into them. But with that being said, I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow with another brand new video. Just remember, don't triple cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.